Only 6 more days to go until Election Day here in Michigan, and races are heating up. History will certainly be made in the state's 13th Congressional District in Detroit. 2 candidates will square off Tuesday. One, Sri Tanadar, an Indian American. The other, Martell Bivings, a Republican who is African American. That means for the first time in nearly 70 years, Detroit may not have black representation in Congress. My partner, Carolyn Clifford, live out in the community, getting a pulse from the people of Detroit about this, and also from an expert who studies the impact and importance of political representation. Carolyn, good evening.
Good evening, Dave. We are by the Tendo Activity Center on 7 Mile in the city of Detroit. This center certainly has a history and a long-standing tradition right in this community, just like the legacy of African-American representation in politics. You know that. But that may be changing after nearly 7 decades. Come next Tuesday, as you said, Dave, Sri Tanadar will square off against Republican Martell Bivings, who is African-American. But how important is it to have African-American representation as a voice in the 13th Congressional District in Detroit? Well, it depends on who you talk to. In the newly drawn 13th Congressional District, Sri Tanadar, a 67-year-old Indian American and self-made millionaire, will face Republican and African-American Martell Bivings this Tuesday. Political experts believe Tanadar has the upper hand in the Democratic-leaning district. His victory would mean, for the first time in nearly 7 decades, Detroiters will not have black representation in the district.
I feel that it's very important that we do have someone of color, like you say, in the city so they can understand the needs and the wants of the residents of the city. You know, not trying to be biased or prejudiced or anything, but I do feel that it is of great importance.
But other Detroiters I spoke to today who were handing in their absentee ballots say it really doesn't matter.
It only bothers me in a sentimental way. I mean, it doesn't worry me.
But it doesn't matter whether it be black, Latino, white, or whatever. If they get into that office, as long as they're doing the job.
I spoke to Dr. Ronald Brown, an associate professor of political science at Wayne State University, who has been studying this very issue.
What is lost is the racial symbolism of having someone that identifies with, the black community in Detroit, and the long history of being involved in national as well as international politics.
Dr. Brown says those who represent Detroit in Congress need to understand what's lacking and to fight for resources.
Black voters are thinking about someone that will be in office that will bring home services to the community.
We need black representation. Everyone, every individual must have their own representation. It's only the fair way to be.
Bottom line, if you don't vote, you do not have a say. Detroit has 20 drop boxes like the one here at the Tendo Activity Center with round-the-clock security from a person sitting here 24/7 to a camera right on top of this building. You can vote here by dropping off your absentee ballot, or you can go inside this building and vote inside. Bottom line, people need to vote and vote before that deadline runs out next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Dave?
Absentee ballots still available, and yes, do your part for democracy by getting out to vote. Carolyn, thank you for bringing us that this evening.